Hi, boys and girls. How are you today? Do you like my Christmas hat? Do you like it? It's got reindeer antlers and sombreros because my story today is going to take place in Mexico again. And it's going to be a story about Christmas. So I have my reindeer antlers on, my Rudolph antlers, and I have my sombreros because we're going to be doing a Christmas story from Mexico. Now, in my story, there's going to be one of these. Do you know what this is? This is a pinata. Pinata. Can you say that? A pinata. Do you know what a pinata is for? I'll give you a little hint. There's a little opening in the top. What do you think you put inside a pinata? It's hollow. Do you hear it? Now, this one is made out of just paper, a real thick paper, like a cardboard, covered with all different colored paper. But in Mexico, some of them are made out of clay, like this is. But this one is just made out of a very thick paper, like a paper mache. But what do you think you put in it? Candy. People would take candy, wrapped candy, maybe some little presents too, and they'll put them inside. You see me putting it inside? Hear it in there? Inside the pinata. Now, what do you think? Why do you think there's a loop on the top? That's right. That's to hang it. You could hang it from a tree, or you could hang it from something like this, like Miss Kathy has. You hang the pinata. Now, what does the pinata have in it? Candy. That's right. Now, what they do after they fill it with candy and they hang it from a tree or hang it from a rafter or hang it from somewhere, they take a big stick and everybody takes turns trying to hit the pinata. They blindfold you so you can't see, and you try to hit the pinata. And since it's made out of clay or made out of a very thick paper, if you hit it, it's going to break. And as soon as it breaks, what do you think happens? That's right, all that candy falls all over the floor. And the boys and girls at the party can pick up all the candy. And that's kind of a little treat for them. That's what a pinata is for. It's for parties. And we're going to see a pinata today at our Christmas party. But first, I brought some candy with me. And last week, we did learn how to say some of those colors in Spanish. Let's see if you remember. Rojo. Rojo. Do you remember what color rojo is? Rojo is red. That's my red piece of candy. Can you say rojo? Remember, you have to do that funny thing with your tongue. Rojo. Rojo. Very good. Do you remember how to sign blue? Put your hand together like that, blue. Azul. 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 Rojo, red. Azul, blue. Green. Verde. 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 Green. Do you remember? Negro. Negro. Black. Negro. So we learned 4. We learned rojo, azul, verde, negro, negro. But I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That means we have to learn some more, don't we? Okay, let's learn some more. This is my favorite sign. You know that is my favorite sign. That's what color my scarf is. Make a Y with your hand. Put your 3 middle fingers down. Leave your thumb and your pinky up. Now, this is the hardest one to say that we're going to learn today. Amarillo, amarillo. Say ma, rio, amarillo, yellow, amarillo, yellow, yellow, amarillo. Do you remember the sign for white? Remember, like if you have something, I have my my poncho on, my Spanish poncho on, my Mexican poncho. Like you're pulling something off of your shirt. Blanco, 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 white, blanco, blanco, white, amarillo, yellow. This is a hard one to sign. Remember, you kind of make a V with your fingers. Turn it upside down. Upside down. And shake. Purple. Purple. Morado. 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 Purple. Morado. Morado. Brown. Now brown is close to blue. Make your hand for blue. And put it right beside your cheek. This is your cheek. And this is an easy one to say. Cafe. Not coffee, like your mama drinks. Cafe. 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 Okay, we learned 4 new ones. Let's review them. Amarillo. 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 Blanco. Blanco. Morado. Morado. Cafe. Cafe. Okay, I'm going to teach you a little song, and it will help you learn all of your colors, okay? So you listen. Red is rojo. Red is rojo. Blue is azul. Blue is azul. Yellow, amarillo. Yellow, amarillo. Verde, green. Verde, green. Black is negro. Black is negro. Blanco is white. Blanco is white. Purple is morado. Purple is morado. Coffee brown. Coffee brown. Okay, try it one more time. Okay, if you can't say the Spanish words right now because you're just learning them, you can do the signs because you do know the signs, okay? Ready? Red is rojo. Red is rojo. Blue is azul. Blue is azul. Yellow, amarillo. Yellow, amarillo. Verde, green. Verde, green. Black is negro. Black is negro. Blanca is white. Blanco is white. Purple is morado. Purple is morado. Coffee brown. Coffee brown. One more time. Red is rojo. Red is rojo. Blue is azul. Blue is azul. Yellow, amarillo. Yellow, amarillo. Verde, green. Verde, green. Black is negro. Black is negro. Blanco is white. Blanco is white. Purple is morado. Purple is morado. Coffee brown. Coffee brown. Good job. We'll try to sing that again at the end. Okay, I'm going to take these down because I'm going to need my board later on. But I want to keep them in order because I want to sing that one more time before we're done today. So let's not get them out of order. Okay, I told you my story was about Christmas in Mexico. Now, in this little town of Mexico, this little girl, Lucia, and her little brother, Pedro, lived. Now, when our story starts, they are gathering pretty colored leaves from outside because they want to get these pretty colored leaves and decorate their table for Christmas. Pedro and Lucia, they don't have a lot of money. They don't have a lot of money, and they're really rather poor. But inside their hearts, they're very happy because both Lucia and Pedro have learned from the missionary lady about Jesus. And they've both asked Jesus into their hearts. So they're both very, very happy boys and girls, even though they don't have a lot of money. But one thing is making Lucia a little bit sad because she knows her daddy is very sad. You see, in her little village on Christmas, boys and girls have a party and they break a piñata. Remember what's inside a piñata? Candy. They break the piñata on Christmas Eve, the day before Christmas, and they have all that candy as a special treat. Well, Lucia knows that her daddy does not have money this year to buy candy to put in their piñata. So Pedro and Lucia came up with an idea because they wanted to have fun, and they did have a piñata, and they wanted to break it and have fun, even if they didn't have a lot of candy. So what they did was they went out on their little road, their little dirt road, and they gathered up. Can you see what's in there? Let me take one out. They gathered up some rocks, some little stones, and they filled their piñata with little stones since they didn't have any money to put candy, because at least they could have the fun of breaking it and picking up the little stones. It was something to do. So they thought that was kind of a neat idea. But they knew that their papa, their daddy, was very sad. That's what their piñata looked like. It's round. It's a little different than my piñata. That's what their piñata looked like. But they knew their daddy was very sad. It was all over his face that he was very sad. Now, Papa did not have Jesus in his heart yet. He did not ask Jesus to save him yet. He did not go to the missionary and hear about Jesus. And Lucia and her brother, Pedro, they were praying so hard that Papa would hear about Jesus. And Pedro said, you know what? Even if we don't have candy in our piñata, we can pray and have a good Christmas anyway. Well, Papa was so sad about that piñata that he decided he would go to see the missionary lady. And he did. He went to the missionary lady, and the missionary lady saw him coming, and she said, "Oh, buenos dias, Senor Avito." Avito is Lucia and Pedro's daddy's last name, and Senor means Mr., and buenos dias means good day. Good day, Mr. Avito. How are you today? And he said, I am very sad. He said, I want my boy and my girl to have a very good Christmas. And I don't have money to buy candy to put in their piñata. So I will give Jesus my heart if you will give me some candy for our piñata. And the missionary lady looked very sad, and she said, Senor, I cannot do that. You cannot buy salvation. You can't buy what Jesus did for you. He did that free. He died on the cross for you to save your soul, and you can't buy that. I can't trade candy for salvation. You have to come to Jesus by yourself. You have to know that he loves you and that he died for you. I can't give you candy for that. Well, Mr. Avito went home, and he was very sad. But you know what? Pedro and Lucia decided that they were going to make the very best of Christmas, even if they didn't have a lot of money. And they made each other some gifts. And can you see what Lucia's making? She's making a little manger for baby Jesus to put under their piñata, under their decorations. And look what Pedro's making. Can you see what he's making? He's making a cross, because Pedro and Lucia knew that Jesus came as a baby, grew up, and died on the cross to save us. Well, Christmas Eve came around, and it was time to break the piñata. Now, Papa was very sad, because he knew when they broke that piñata, all that Lucia and Pedro would have to pick up would be little rocks and stones. And how sad that would be. But he helped them hang the piñata up on the rafters, and they got their stick, and Lucia said, Pedro, you go first, because you're the youngest. You can go first. Are you sure? Yes, you can go first. Go ahead, break the piñata. And he got his stick, and he hit it. Of course, Pedro wasn't very big, so he had to hit a couple times. And Mama was watching, and Daddy was so sad. He thought, oh, they're just going to have rocks. But when the piñata broke, an amazing thing happened. Can you see what fell out of the piñata? Candy. I see a star, too. How did candy fall? And Pedro and Lucia were so excited. We got candy, and they started picking up the candy, and Lucia picked up a handful of candy, and she gave it to her daddy, and she said, Merry Christmas, Padre, Merry Christmas. You can have some of our candy. And he went out, and he sat under the tree, wondering how in the world did that candy get in that piñata. And he sat there, and he held that little star that was in the piñata, and he looked up toward heaven, and something very special happened that night. It was a miracle, not the candy in the piñata, but Lucia and Pedro's daddy, under that tree in the quiet of the moonlight, asked Jesus to save him, and thanked Jesus for dying on the cross for him, and asked Jesus to come in and live inside of him and help him be a better person and take him to heaven someday. Well, when Papa went in the house, he said, Mama, I don't understand how that candy got into that piñata. I went and asked the missionary lady today, and she said she could not do it. And Mama said, well, the missionary lady had a big surprise. She came over this afternoon and filled their piñata with candy. And she even brought us over a wonderful Christmas meal, fruit and milk and a beautiful turkey, it looks like, and some bread. And she told her husband, she said, it is a Christmas miracle. And he said, no, that is not the Christmas miracle. And he told Mama and Lucia and Pedro that he asked Jesus to save him that night. Oh, and Lucia and Pedro were so excited. That is the best Christmas gift. That's what they're praying for. They've been praying that their daddy would get saved, and they were so happy. And what a wonderful Christmas they had. Not only because their piñata was filled with candy, but because their daddy's heart was filled with Jesus. Now that's a neat story. And that missionary was very giving, wasn't she? And we've been talking a lot about giving. And our Bible story today is kind of a strange story about giving too. And it's about this lady. This lady is a widow. Do you know what a widow is? A widow is a woman who doesn't have a husband. Her husband has died. and she is a widow. And she had some little boys. Can you see how many? 2 little boys. And she didn't have very much money. She didn't have any money at all. And she went to this man. This man was a prophet, and his name was Elisha. And she said, Elisha, I just don't know what to do. I don't have any money, and I don't have any money to buy food for my children, to pay our bills. I just don't know what's going to happen to us. Well, Elisha didn't have a lot of money either. And he said, well, what do you have in your house? What do you have that's valuable? And she said, I have a pot of oil. Now, we were talking about pots a little bit ago because I told you sometimes piñatas can be made out of clay. Well, all she had was a pot of oil. Now, that was very valuable in Bible times because they used that to cook, and they could sell that, and they used it for their lamps and their lanterns. Oil was very, 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 very valuable. It was very, very expensive. And Elisha said, well, here's what I want you to do. I want you to take that. How many pots of oil did she have? One, just one. I want you to take that pot of oil, and I want you to go to all of your neighbors, and I want you to borrow as many jars, containers, jugs, whatever you can get. I want you to borrow them. I want you to take them into your house, close the doors, and I want you to pour the oil that you have into all those containers. Well, that's a strange thing to do. But she set her boys to work right away. Can you see them getting some containers? He's got a big jug. He's got kind of a littler jar, and she's got one there. And they went to all the neighbors, and they borrowed all the jars they could find. Now, the Bible doesn't say how many they borrowed, so we'll just put a whole lot on here. Whoops, that one doesn't want to stay with that one. Whole lot. We'll put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Let's put 8, 9. Let's put 10. I don't know how many jars she borrowed. And as soon as they borrowed all the jars in the neighborhood, what did Elisha tell them to do? That's right, close the door and start pouring oil. And that's what she did. She closed the door and she started pouring. You see her oil coming out? She started pouring her oil into the first jar. And it filled it. And there was still more oil in there. And she filled the second one. And it filled clear to the top. And there was still oil. And she filled the third one. And the fourth one. And she kept filling. And it never got empty. How in the world? Now that's a miracle. That's a miracle. That wasn't a miracle with the piñata, because the missionary lady came in and she took the stones out and put the candy in. Okay, so it wasn't a miracle. But this was a miracle. And she poured and she poured and she got to the very last one and she filled the very last one. And then there was no more oil. And she went to Elisha and she said, Elisha, I have all these jugs of oil now. And he said, well, good. Now you take all those jugs of oil and you take them to the city and you sell them. Remember, I told you they were worth a lot of money. You sell them and they will give you money and you can take care of your 2 little boys now. Didn't God give her a wonderful gift? And even though Elisha didn't have any money to give her, he told her what God would have her to do, and God blessed this woman. Isn't it wonderful to watch when God gives? Isn't it wonderful to watch Pedro and Lucia's daddy get saved? What a wonderful gift that is. And we've been talking about charity. Charity is giving to someone. And we learned a new verse. We started a new verse last week. First, do you remember that big word? Corinthians 13:13. 1 Corinthians 13:13. And now abideth faith, hope, charity, these three. But the greatest of these is charity. And now abideth faith, hope, charity, these three. But the greatest of these is charity. 1 Corinthians 13:13. Greatest, best, like you're wiping your head, across your head, forehead, and then make a thumbs up. Thumbs ups are easy. Greatest, best. Would you sing with me? And now abideth faith, hope, charity, these three. But the greatest of these is charity. 1 Corinthians 13:13. And now abideth faith, hope, charity, these three. But the greatest of these is charity. Give, and it shall be given unto you. Good measure, pressed down and shaken together. Luke 6:38. Give, and it shall be given unto you. Good measure, pressed down and shaken together. Luke 6:38. Remember the words, remember the words, remember the words of the Lord Jesus, how he said it is more blessed to give than to receive. Acts 20:35b. Remember the words, remember the words, remember the words of the Lord Jesus, how he said it is more blessed to give than to receive. Acts 20:35b. Remember the words, remember the words, remember the words of the Lord Jesus, how he said it is more blessed to give than to receive. Acts 20:35b. Oh, Miss Kathy's asking a lot of you today. We're remembering so much stuff. Okay, here we go. Ready? Red is rojo, red is rojo, blue is azul, blue is azul, yellow amarillo, yellow amarillo, verde green, verde green. Black is negro, black is negro, blanco is white, blanco is white. Purple is morado, purple is morado, coffee brown, coffee brown. How are you doing? Are you getting it? One more time, okay? One more time. If you can't say the Spanish word, you can sign, okay? Ready? There, get my hat going here. There's some red lights up there. Ready? Red is rojo, red is rojo, blue is azul, blue is azul, yellow amarillo, yellow amarillo, verde green, verde, green. Black is negro, black is negro. Blanco is white, blanco is white. Purple is morado, purple is morado. Coffee brown, coffee brown. Adios, boys and girls. We're going to have one more Spanish Mexican story for you next week, and we're going to learn a few more colors. So try to remember those and try to practice them, and I will see you next week. Have a great week, boys and girls. Bye-bye.